Have you yet discovered the vast importance of beginnings? Do you really know what is involved in a beginning? Do you know the number of beginnings you are continuously making and realize their full import? A beginning is a cause, and as such it must be followed by an effect or a train of effects, and the effect will always be of the same nature as the cause. There are beginnings over which you have no control and authority. These are without in the universe, in the world of nature around you, and in other people who have the same liberty as yourself. Do not concern yourself with these beginnings, but direct your energies and attention to those beginnings over which you have complete control and authority, and which bring about the complicated web of results which compose your life. These beginnings are to be found in the realm of your own thoughts and actions, in your mental attitude under the variety of circumstances through which you pass, in your conduct day by day, in short, in your life as you make it, which is your world of good or ill. In aiming at the life of blessedness, one of the simplest beginnings to be considered and rightly made is that which we all make every day, namely, the beginning of each day's life. This conversation will change the way you think about money and show you that it's not just a means to an end, but a sign of the universe's wealth. Lesson 1. You might not quickly think of money as spiritual, but once you see it as a flow of energy that can make your life and the lives of others better, you'll understand its deep spiritual meaning. Your ideas, goals, and wishes can come true with money, just like the sun gives life to plants. If you use it in the right way, it can open up doors for you and the people around you. Consider this. Each time you spend money, you're directing a flow of energy. You decide where to send it and what to feed it. Even if it's only a little, you're making a difference. When you choose to support a small business, give to a charity, or put money into your schooling, you're making a choice. Giving and getting is an important part of faith, and you're acting on it. But keep in mind that money, like any other kind of energy, can be used for good or bad things. Its moral value depends on what you do with it. It's not about how much money you have, but how you spend it. You show your faith by making financial choices that are in line with your ideals and beliefs. In the end, money is no longer just a real thing when you see it as a form of energy. It turns into a spiritual tool you can use to do good things. So accept this point of view and let it guide your money journey. How do you begin each day? At what hour do you rise? How do you commence your duties? In what frame of mind do you enter upon the sacred life of a new day? What answer can you give your heart to these important questions? You will find that much happiness or unhappiness follows upon the right or wrong beginning of the day, and that when every day is wisely begun, happy and harmonious sequences will mark its course, and life in its totality will not fall far short of the ideal blessedness. It is a right and strong beginning to the day to rise at an early hour. Even if your worldly duty does not demand it, it is wise to make of it a duty and begin the day strongly by shaking off indolence. How are you to develop strength of will and mind and body if you begin every day by yielding to weakness? Self-indulgence is always followed by unhappiness. People who lie in bed till a late hour are never bright and cheerful and fresh, but are the prey of irritabilities, depressions, debilities, nervous disorders, abnormal fancies, and all unhappy moods. This is the heavy price which they have to pay for their daily indulgence, yet so blinding is the pandering to self that, like the drunkard who takes his daily dram in the belief that it is bracing up the nerves which it is all the time shattering, so the lie-abed is convinced that long hours of ease are necessary for him as a possible remedy for those very moods and weaknesses and disorders of which his indulgence is the cause. Men and women are totally unaware of the great losses which they entail by this common indulgence. Loss of strength, both of mind and body, loss of prosperity, loss of knowledge, and loss of happiness. Begin the day then by rising early. If you have no object in doing so, never mind. Get up and go out for a gentle walk among the beauties of nature, and you will experience a buoyancy, a freshness, and a delight not to say a peace of mind which will amply reward you for your effort. One good effort is followed by another, and when a man begins the day by rising early, even though with no other purpose in view, he will find that the silent early hour is conducive to clearness of mind and calmness of thought, and that his early morning walk is enabling him to become a consecutive thinker, and so to see life and its problems as well as himself and his affairs in a clearer light. And so in time he will rise early with the express purpose of preparing and harmonizing his mind to meet any and every difficulty with wisdom and calm strength. Lesson 2. Finding out how the universe works. Let's look into the idea of the universe's flow, which is a basic spiritual theory that can have a huge effect on how you think about and deal with money. The flow of the world is a dance of energy, plenty, and happiness that is always moving and shifting. You are a part of this psychic flow. Think of this flow as a river of plenty that never ends, and money as a small but important part of it. This river doesn't pick sides or judge. Your past mistakes or worries about the future don't matter to it. It just runs, carrying an endless amount of wealth. You might wonder why you don't have all the money you need if this flow is so strong. The answer is in how you link with the flow. Once you're open, willing, and sure that the world has plenty for you, you'll be in sync with its flow. You can't let this flow through if you're closed off, afraid, or believe in lack. It's not a penalty, it's just how things work in the world. Don't forget that the flow of the world isn't just about money. It's about love, happiness, chances, and all kinds of plenty. You will feel more than just financial success when you let this flow through you. Things will get better in every part of your life. The first step to having a better relationship with money is to understand how the world works. Once you know what this flow is, you can learn to connect with it, which will bring more wealth and success into your life. Going on this trip is worth it because the benefits are huge. Lesson 3. Changing the way you think about money. Changing the way you think about money can be hard, but it's necessary to get in tune with the flow of wealth in the world. You may feel swamped by this, but keep in mind that it's not so much about changing your whole outlook as it is about changing how you think about your money. First, let's change the way you think about money. It's not just something you can touch or a number in your bank account. It's a force that comes from the universe, and your ideas and emotions can either draw it to you or push it away. Getting rid of bad ideas about money is the first step. Now is the time to question your beliefs about money, especially if you think it's bad or out of your reach. There is no such thing as good or bad money. You have the power to bring it to you, and it can be used for good or bad. Second, begin to practice gratitude for what you already possess. Because you're grateful for your current financial situation, no matter how small, you're putting out good vibes that bring you more money. Your energy affects everything around you, so make sure it's good. Finally, picture plenty. Picture yourself having the money and freedom to live the life you want. It's not about thinking, it's about making the world pay attention to your goal. Changing the way you think about money is a process that doesn't happen fast. Take your time and remember that the world is always on your side and ready to give you plenty. Getting in touch with the flow of wealth in the world means developing a deep sense of gratitude for all the good things that already exist in your life. Being thankful helps you see and value your gifts, and this good attitude brings more good things into your life. An easy-to-understand but powerful spiritual truth is that what you value grows. Take a moment to think about this. When you're thankful, you think about what you have instead of what you don't have. This shift in viewpoint can really change the way you feel about things in general. It's hard to feel bad about yourself when you're thinking about all the good things in your life. Being grateful doesn't mean ignoring problems or challenges. It means realizing that there are things to be grateful for, even when things are hard. It means accepting everything about your life, the good and the bad, the happiness and the pain. Start a gratitude book to make being thankful a daily habit. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. They don't have to be big, small, everyday pleasures can bring the most happiness sometimes. Practicing gratitude makes room in your heart and life for wealth to come in from the world. It changes your energy, raises your vibration, and lines you up with the frequency of wealth. Start showing gratitude today and watch as the world reacts with lots of good things. 5th lesson, making sure your beliefs are in line with success. It's important to review and adjust your views about money in order to truly welcome success into your life, just as you've learned to foster gratitude. Your ideas have a lot of power. They shape your world and can either get in the way of your wealth or make it easier to get it. Think about what you think about money right now. Do you think of it as a limited resource, or do you think there is a lot of it in the universe? Are you sure that the only way to get rich is to work hard, or do you believe that wealth can just come into your life? These views don't make you right or wrong, but they can affect how much wealth you draw. If you think it's hard to get money, it will be hard for you to get it. To match your beliefs with wealth, you should first be aware of any beliefs that are holding you back. You can have them, everyone does. What's important is not to judge yourself, but to know where they're coming from and how they're making you feel. Next, question those ideas. Ask yourself if they're really making you happy. If they're not, it's time to get rid of them and get new ones that will help you. If you want to get more money, you need to start thinking that it comes from the universe and is easy to get. It might take some time and patience, but it's worth it. By letting go of limited ideas about money, you make room for plenty to come into your life. Keep in mind that you deserve to be financially successful. It's about getting in tune with the universe's spiritual flow and letting it lead you to wealth. Lesson 6. Letting go of money. Beliefs that hold you back. Letting go of ideas that hold you back with money can be scary, but it's an important step toward accepting the spiritual flow of wealth. Some words you may have heard as a child, like "money doesn't grow on trees" or "rich people are greedy," may have become deeply ingrained in your mind. These ideas can really get in the way of your financial success by stopping the flow of wealth that comes into your life from everywhere else. Before you can let go of these limited ideas, you need to know what they are. Take a moment to think about what you believe about money. How do you feel right now when you think about having money? Do you have a sense of lack, fear, or anxiety? These feelings can bring to light limited ideas. Once you know what these ideas are, you should question them. You should ask yourself if this idea is making you better. Most of the time, it's not. Keep in mind that money is neither good nor bad in and of itself. It's just a tool that can bring you comfort, freedom, and the chance to help other people. Next, change these ideas that hold you back with ones that will help you. It may take some time and patience, but it's worth it. Instead of saying things like, "I can't afford this," "How can I afford this?" and "Money is hard to come by," believe things like, "There is an abundant flow of money in the universe that I can tap into." By letting go of limited ideas about money, you make room for plenty to come into your life. Keep in mind that you deserve to be financially successful. It's about getting in tune with the universe's spiritual flow and letting it lead you to wealth. 7th lesson. Use the power of visualization. You need to use your mind's eye and the powerful practice of imagination now that you've started to break down your limiting views about money. It's not enough to just imagine living a fancy life or having a lot of money. You need to connect with the flow of wealth that the world naturally provides. Visualization is a powerful tool, not because it can magically make you rich, but because it can change the way you think about and feel about money. Not only are you wanting things, but you're also connecting your energy with the spiritual flow of wealth that is already yours. First, picture what it would be like for you to be financially free. Is it a quiet place, a job that makes you happy, or the chance to help other people? The more clear your goal is, the more connected you are to it. Feel the happiness, relief, and safety that come with having so much. Take a deep breath and let it fill your body, your mind, and your actions. It's important to remember that visualizing isn't about getting what you want right away or making money appear out of thin air. It has to do with developing a good, healthy relationship with money that promotes growth, gratitude, and kindness. This is about realizing that money isn't just something physical, but a mental flow from the world that you can fully control. Visualization isn't a quick fix. It's a powerful way to learn about yourself and bring your dreams into reality. When you do that, you let the universe's wealth into your life and welcome it with ease, gratitude, and joy. Lesson 8. Make clear goals for your money. Being aware of the spiritual flow of wealth in your mind means it's time to use that energy to make clear, attainable financial goals. A river needs walls to show it the right way to run, and the same is true for your money. Do not be stressed. It is not as hard as it looks. In reality, all you have to do is figure out what you want and how to get it. First, think about what it means to you to be financially secure. Is it having enough money to pay your bills and save for retirement? It could also be building up cash for your kids' schooling or to live a nice life. Be clear about what it is. It will be easier to picture your goals if you are more specific. Next, divide your goals into 3 groups: short term, 1 to 3 years, medium term, 4 to 6 years, and long term, 7 years or more. This helps you keep your goals straight and find a balance between what you want right now and what you need in the future. Don't forget that these are your goals, so they should fit with your values and hopes. Lastly, look over your goals often and make changes as needed. Your money needs change, as your life does. You should be able to change your goals to fit these new circumstances. No matter how small, celebrate your financial accomplishments because they help you get closer to your end goal. You need to make a plan to get to your desired financial target in order to set clear financial goals. If you line up this map with the spiritual energy of wealth, the trip will not only be rewarding, but it will also teach you new things. Lesson 9. Taking actions that motivate you to get rich. Not only should you set goals on your way to wealth, but you should also be driven to take action to make those dreams come true. There may be an endless supply of good things in the world, but it's up to you to connect with the flow and direct it toward your goals. Wishing or wanting isn't enough to take inspired action. You have to match your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with the energy of the world, trust in its abundance, and develop a positive attitude that accepts wealth. But don't forget that this isn't about useless work. It's about doing things that are in line with your values and your cash goals. Pay attention to your intuition to get started. That good mood pushing you in a certain way. Your intuition is like a spiritual guide. It points you toward chances and choices that are in line with your purpose. If a chance seems right, it probably is in line with the global order. Next, be willing to learn and change. It's not easy to get rich, and you have to be able to adapt to different situations. Accept change, learn from your mistakes, and change direction when you need to. The world likes students who are humble. Finally, show gratitude. If you are grateful for the wealth you already have, more will come your way. When you show gratitude, you let the world know you're ready for more good things to happen. 10th lesson, being mindful when dealing with money. In the same way that you've learned to match your actions with the general flow to get rich, it's also important to be mindful when you deal with money. This means being aware of, present, and aware of all of your financial choices, no matter how big or small they are. It's about seeing money not just as something you have, but as energy that comes and goes from your life. A sense of calm and control over your financial situation is brought on by practicing awareness in financial affairs. You don't have to worry about every bit, but you should know where your money comes from and where it goes, without feeling anxious or judged. This will help you have a better relationship with your money and connect with the spiritual flow of the world. Before you start this trip, you should keep track of your spending. It's not about making people feel guilty or ashamed. It's about making them aware. You'll start to notice trends, like where you might be spending too much or where you could save money. Accept these without judging them. Next, be mindful about how much you earn. Appreciate the time and work you put into making every dollar. Being aware of this makes you value your pay and value the work you do. Finally, show gratitude. Saying thank you for the money you have can change your attitude and make you feel more blessed. It's not enough to be thankful for plenty. You should also be thankful for every money lesson you've learned. If you do these things, money will become less of a source of stress for you and more of a tool that helps you connect with the spiritual flow of the world. Lesson 11. How to use affirmations to get money. You can use mantras to bring wealth and success into your life. Have you ever thought about this? Positive affirmations are words or sentences that can help you fight bad thoughts and actions that hurt yourself. You can start to see good effects if you say them over and over and believe in them. You might be curious about how this works. The law of attraction has everything to do with it. This universal truth says that whatever you focus on, you will draw into your life. So, positive words can help you think about money and success, which will bring you more of it. Let's get down to business. Say your vows out loud every morning. Make sure they are clear, attainable, and encouraging. Saying, "I am receiving wealth and abundance now," is more powerful than saying, "I want to be wealthy." Feel the truth in those words, picture it, and let them sink in. But wait a little while. You won't get rich overnight with affirmations, but they can help you change your thinking, break down walls, and let money flow into your life from the world. Keep in mind that money is energy that reacts to what you think and feel. Lesson 12. Letting go of your fear of money. Yes, using the power of words can help you think more positively about money, but it's also important to deal with any hidden financial fears you may have. Anything good from the world, like money, can't get through when people are afraid. Just think about it. If you worry about money all the time, it will get in the way of what you really want. You should feel scared. It's part of being human. But the important thing is not to let it run your life or your money. Start by being honest about your fears. If you have to, write them down. Do you worry that you won't have enough or that you'll lose what you have? Face it, no matter what it is. It's the first step towards healing. Next, work on having hope instead of fear. Trust that the world has more than enough for everyone, including you. This change in viewpoint might not happen right away, but it is definitely possible with time and effort. Practice gratitude as well. Be grateful for what you have instead of what you don't have. Being thankful can make your gifts grow, which can bring more money into your life. Lastly, try to learn. A lot of the time, fear about money comes from not knowing. Find out more about how to handle money, make deals, and get rich. This is the best way to fight fear because you know a lot about it. Lesson 13. Know how much money is worth. To really understand the spiritual flow of money, we need to respect its worth and understand the part it plays in our lives. Money isn't just a way to get what we want. It's also a way to meet our wants, follow our dreams, and help the people around us. To show how valuable it is, we should treat it with care, be thankful for it, and use it wisely. Money can be thought of as energy that comes from the universe. It needs to be moved around like any other kind of energy does to stay alive. When you save money, you stop it from moving around, which can cause things to stop moving and leave you short. On the other hand, when you spend money easily but carefully, you keep its energy alive and promote its movement. To really respect the importance of money, you need to have a good relationship with it. This means realizing that it's not fundamentally good or bad, but rather a neutral tool that shows what we value and want to achieve. Honoring the spiritual essence of money means making choices about money that are in line with your core values and goals. How you make, spend, save, and manage your money is all part of this respect. It's about making smart choices that take into account both your short-term wants and your long-term goals and ideas. When you respect the importance of money, you recognize its part in your life and its power to make the world a better place. How to make a ritual for sacred money. Now that you respect and understand the value of money, you need to create a holy money routine to make sure that your financial actions are even more in line with your spiritual beliefs. A holy money practice isn't about getting rich quickly. It's about getting to know your money better, understanding its value, and seeing it as a tool to help you reach your goals. To start, find a quiet place where you can focus on your goals without being interrupted. That area doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to be a spot where you're at ease and calm. Set aside this area for your practice with precious money. Next, make a list of your financial goals, but don't just include numbers. Write down how each goal makes you feel and what you hope to achieve. Do you want to buy a house? Before you write "buy a house," write "create a loving home for my family." Hold your goals in your hands, close your eyes, and picture yourself reaching your goals. Feel the feelings that are running through you. It's not enough to just imagine. You have to feel and believe too. Lesson 15. Asking higher powers for help with money. You might get deep financial knowledge and help by connecting with spiritual forces and tapping into their world to get clarity and direction on your money path. It's not as crazy as it sounds. Many people have found peace, meaning, and a way to make money by asking for help from a power bigger than themselves. To be clear, it's not about asking for the lucky lottery number. It's about learning, finding your purpose, and making sure that your spiritual beliefs and financial goals are in line with each other. You should ask yourself things like, what is the best use of my resources? Or, how can I serve others with my wealth? These questions can lead to answers that bring you both financial and spiritual wealth. You can get this kind of help through prayer, meditation, or intuitive listening. When you clear your mind, you can get ideas that can help you make better financial choices. You're not just hearing to get specific tips, like whether to buy stocks or bonds. You're also tuning into a higher level of knowledge about the world and your relationship with money. Don't forget that this process needs time and an open heart. Do not give up, even if you do not get an answer right away. Ask, listen, and have faith in the universe's wisdom a lot more. When you make financial choices that are in line with your spiritual beliefs, you'll feel a sense of peace, meaning, and wealth that goes beyond the material world. You're not going through this journey by yourself. The world is ready to help you if you'll just listen. Lesson 16. Getting on board with the law of attraction. Let's talk about the idea of the law of attraction and how it can have a big effect on your financial success in money matters. Like attracts like is what the law of attraction is all about. It says that having good or bad thoughts leads to good or bad things happening in your life. You may be asking what this has to do with money matters. Well, believe it or not, your mental health is closely connected to your cash situation. When you think about lack, debt, and financial stress all the time, you're likely to attract more of the same. When you think about wealth, success, and gratitude, on the other hand, you'll start to bring those things into your life. So, what are some good ways to use the law of attraction to make money? First, picture the money goals you want to reach. Imagine that you reach your goals and feel the happiness and ease that come with being financially stable. This good energy will start the processes that bring about wealth. Gratitude for what you already have should be expressed next. Being thankful makes you feel good, which in turn brings you more of what you're thankful for, like money. Finally, act like you already have all the money you want. This doesn't mean spending money without thinking, but rather making choices based on having plenty of money, not having enough. Lesson 17. Getting a good attitude about money. Changing the way you think about money can lead to a lot of new possibilities and wealth. Instead of just making more money, it's about developing a better, healthier relationship with it. To do this, you must first realize that money is more than just a physical trade. It is a mental flow that shows what kind of energy you send out into the world. To have a good money attitude, you have to let go of ideas that hold you back. You may believe that you don't deserve to be rich and that money is the source of all evil. But remember that it's not money itself that is bad. It's the desire to have it more than anything else. Don't think of money as something that will make your dreams come true. To change your attitude, you should first see how valuable you and your work are. Don't undervalue your skills and time. You deserve to be paid properly. When you know how valuable you are, you make room for more. Even if you don't have as much as you'd like, practice gratitude for what you do. Being thankful makes more good things happen in your life, like money. Think about the life you want, picture it, and believe it can happen. This isn't just happy thinking, it's about moving at a speed that brings in plenty. Lesson 18. Using the power of your thoughts. Building on the idea of buzzing at a level that draws plenty, it's important to know how purpose works in the process of making money appear. Your purpose is like a guide that points your choices and behaviors toward the result you want. Make your goals about the money you want to draw very clear. Saying, "I want to be rich," isn't enough. Think about what being rich means to you. A life without debt, a nice home, being able to support your family well, or giving a lot to causes you care about. The more clear your purpose is, the stronger the force you send out into the world. Your goals need your care and attention, just like a seed needs to be watered and cared for in order to grow. Not only can you not forget about your purpose, but you also need to make sure that the things you do every day are in line with it. For example, if you want to get out of debt, make decisions that will help you reach that goal. Make a budget, spend less, and save more. Remember that setting a goal is more than just picturing what you want to happen. It's also about feeling what you want to happen. Feel the happiness, peace, and safety that your wealth brings you. This mental connection raises your energy, which brings you the wealth you want. With intention, you can bring the wealth you want into your life. Be smart about how you use it. Be careful not to hurt yourself, and trust that it will work. Lesson 19. Choosing to be aware of abundance. Having a wealth mindset can change how you feel about money and turn it into a positive, powerful force in your life. Instead of seeing money as something that is hard to get and causes stress, try seeing it as something that comes from the world and flows freely. This change in how you think can have a big effect on your financial situation. It's important to remember that wealth doesn't just mean having a lot of money. It also means feeling rich in every way. Being in wealth awareness means being thankful for what you have and still being open to getting more. Being rich isn't just a dream for you. You're living it, feeling it, and believing in it. If you want to really live with wealth awareness, you have to work at it every day. Begin by showing gratitude for the good things you currently have. This changes your mindset from lack to abundance, which brings more good into your life. Take a moment to picture your financial goals being reached. Enjoy the happiness and satisfaction of your win. This exercise can help you connect your energy with the sound of plenty. Building a healthy relationship with money. Lesson 20. It's important to see money as a spiritual flow, but it's also important to have a good relationship with it. It's not just about how much money you make or how often you spend. It's about seeing money as a tool instead of a goal. It has to do with developing a mindset of gratitude, wealth, and financial awareness. As you can see, money can be a great helper but a bad boss. You're letting money rule you if you worry about it all the time, feel stressed about it, or use it to judge your own worth. You should think of money as energy that you can use for good instead. Don't see it as a sign of how valuable you are as a person. Instead, see it as a way to make chances, take care of your family, and give back to your community. First, think about how you feel about money. Are they caused by fear, a lack of something, or envy? If so, it's time to change how you feel. Have an attitude of gratitude and wealth. Know that everyone has enough, and be grateful for what you have, even as you try to get more. Next, plan how you'll spend your money. Pay attention to how you make, save, and spend your money. This doesn't mean you can't do the things that make you happy. It just means you need to be smart about how you spend your money. Having a good relationship with money doesn't mean keeping it. It means knowing what it's for and how it fits into your life. Money should be a good force that flows easily and helps you all the time. Lesson 21. Being gracious when you give and receive. The spiritual flow of money doesn't end when you spend or make it. It also includes learning how to give and receive with kindness. This isn't just about business, it's also about learning more about how you connect with the universe. When you think about this idea, at its core is the idea of exchange, which looks at both giving and receiving. Giving is more than just giving something away. It's sharing a piece of yourself, your energy, and your wealth. You're helping to keep the world in balance. But giving isn't the only thing that matters. Getting is too. Your worth is confirmed when you accept a gift, praise, or offer of assistance with ease and gratitude. It's not about guilt or wanting more. It's about recognizing the universe's wealth and your part in it. It means realizing that you are also a part of the flow of the world and deserve its gifts. The way people give and receive in this dance is very sacred. It's a sign that you believe the world is full of good things and that you are linked to it. One way to improve gratitude, humility, and kindness is to do this. Money and other kinds of wealth can easily run through your life as long as you keep this balance. It's not always easy to understand this exchange, but it's important for your relationship with money and the world in general. When you learn to give and receive with kindness, you increase your happiness. Lesson 22. Making the link between your purpose and wealth. As you learn more about the spiritual flow of money, it's important to remember that your sense of meaning is directly connected to your wealth. Being aware of this connection can be life-changing, leading to a world where money is more than just a real thing, but also a spiritual one. Your purpose, your deepest reason for being, is what you bring to the world that no one else does. It's your goal and your drive, and it has something to do with your success. When you do things that are in line with your purpose, you create a spiritual force that pulls wealth toward you. It's about making a flow of energy that links your desire to your success. Realizing this isn't about becoming obsessed with money, it's about having a good relationship with it. It's about understanding that getting rich isn't the goal, but a way to reach your goals. The idea is to let go of the fear of not having enough and welcome the plenty that the world has to give. When you link your purpose to wealth, you'll start to see it not as a sign of your worth, but as a spiritual tool. You'll learn that money isn't what makes you happy. It's just a way to get what you want. You'll understand that getting rich isn't the goal, but a way to reach your goal. Additionally, you'll experience a sense of happiness and joy that doesn't come from getting rich, but from living a life with a purpose. Lesson 23. Letting kindness flow through you. You can tap into the strong stream of kindness that flows through the vast world of wealth. This flow isn't just about giving money or things. It's about having an attitude of wealth and a kind heart that wants to help others. You have to change how you think about money in order to accept this flow. You might have been told that money is limited and should be kept safe if possible. However, think about this. Money is energy, and all energy needs to flow in order to stay alive. You're not losing anything when you give freely, whether it's your time, your skills, or your money. Instead, you're actively joining the universe's flow of plenty. You're recognizing that everyone has more than enough, and that your kindness can help make the world a better place for everyone. But how do you accept this flow of kindness? Gratitude is where it begins. Take note of the wealth that is already in your life. Train yourself to be grateful for what you have, and you'll start to see chances to help others everywhere. Next, have faith in the universe. Believe that all of your needs will be met, and that you can always get more than you need. When you trust someone, you can't feel fear or lack. Lesson 25. To bring wealth to your life, do good things. Let's build on this idea of trust and kindness by talking about how helping others can be a great way to bring wealth into your life. Wealthy people have more than just money. They also have a lot of information, experience, and personal growth. Helping other people doesn't have to be something big. It could be as simple as listening to a friend who is struggling, volunteering in your community, or using your unique skills to help other people. When you serve others, you let the universe's good things come to you. You're getting ready for the flow of wealth that's about to come into your life. People often think that the only ways to get rich are through hard work and luck. Through service, on the other hand, you connect with the spiritual flow of the world and make a way for wealth to find you. You're not trying to catch it, you're drawing it to you. Giving, or being of service, makes room in your life for new things to come in. It's like the world wants to fill that space with more good things. This is the law of attraction at work. Things that are like each other are drawn to each other. The world knows you're ready to receive when you do kind things for other people. Lesson 25. A way to celebrate your money success. When your finances start to improve, you should really enjoy your progress and honor your accomplishments. You have given up things and worked hard to keep your eye on the prize. There are more benefits than just money in the bank. The benefits include a sense of success and being praised for your hard work. Don't be afraid of your success. Instead, enjoy it. Take it as a sign of how dedicated and strong you are. Celebrating your financial success doesn't mean showing off or being showy. It means recognizing the good energy that money, which is a spiritual flow from the world, brings into your life. But how do you celebrate? Making big moves or spending a lot of money isn't necessary. There are many options, such as giving yourself something you've always wanted or taking a welcome break. Another thing you could do is give back by supporting a cause you care about. You now know how the spiritual journey of money is linked to the energy of the world. Have goodwill to all that lives, letting unkindness die and greed and wrath, so that your lives be made like soft airs passing by. When a man abandons retaliation for forgiveness, he passes from darkness to light. So dark and ignorant is unforgiveness that no being who is at all wise or enlightened could descend to it, but its darkness is not understood and known until it is left behind, and the better and nobler course of conduct is sought and practiced. Man is blinded and deluded only by his own dark and sinful tendencies, and the giving up of all unforgiveness means the giving up of pride and certain forms of passion, the abandonment of the deeply rooted idea of the importance of one's self and of the necessity for protecting and defending that self. And when that is done, the higher life, greater wisdom, and pure enlightenment, which pride and passion completely obscured, are revealed in all their light and beauty. Then there are petty offences, little spites and passing slights, which, while of a less serious nature than deep-seated hatreds and revenges, dwarf the character and cramp the soul. They are due to the sin of self and self-importance, and thrive on vanity. Whosoever is blinded and deluded by vanity will continually see something in the actions and the attitudes of others towards him at which to take offence. And the more there is of vanity, the more greatly will the imaginary slight or wrong be exaggerated. Moreover, to live in the frequent indulgence of petty resentments increase the spirit of hatred and leads gradually downward to greater darkness, suffering, and self-delusion. Don't take offense or allow your feelings to be hurt, which means get rid of pride and vanity. Don't give occasion for offense or hurt the feelings of others, which means be gently considerate, forgiving, and charitable towards all. The not taking offense and the not giving offense go together. When a man ceases to resent the actions of others, he is already acting kindly towards them, considering them before himself or his own defense. Such a man will be gently in what he says and does, will arouse love and kindness in others, and not stir them up to ill will and strife. He will also be free from all fear concerning the actions of others towards him, for he who hurts none fears none. But the unforgiving man, he who is eager to pay back some real or imaginary slight or injury, will not be considerate towards others, for he considers himself first and is continually making enemies. He also loves in the fear of others, thinking that they are trying to do towards him as he is doing towards them. He who contrives the hurt of others fears others. There is a beautiful story of Prince Dirgayu, which was told by an ancient Indian teacher to his disciples in order to impress them with the truth of the sublime percept that hatred ceases not by hatred at any time. Hatred ceases by not hatred. The story is as follows. Brahmadatta, a powerful king of Benares, made war upon Dirgeti, the king of Kosala, in order to annex his kingdom, which was much smaller than his own. Dirgeti, seeing that it was impossible for him to resist the greater power of Brahmadatta, fled and left his kingdom in his enemy's hands. For some time he wandered from place to place in disguise, and at last settled down with his queen in an artisan's cottage, and the queen gave birth to a son whom they called Dirgayu. Now King Brahmadatta was anxious to discover the hiding place of Dirgeti in order to put to death the conquered king, for he thought, "Seeing that I have deprived him of his kingdom, he may someday treacherously kill me if I do not kill him." But many years passed away, and Dirgeti devoted himself to the education of his son, who by diligent application became learned and skillful and wise. And after a time, Dirgeti's secret became known, and he, fearing that Brahmadatta would discover him and slay all three, and thinking more of the life of his son than his own, sent away the prince. Soon after, the exiled king fell into the hands of Brahmadatta and was, along with his queen, executed. Now Brahmadatta thought, "I have got rid of Dirgeti and his queen, but their son, Prince Dirgayu, lives, and he will be sure to contrive some means of effecting my assassination. Yet he is unknown to any, and I have no means of discovering him." So the king lived in great fear and continual distress of mind. Soon after the execution of his parents, Dirgayu, under an assumed name, sought employment in the king's stables and was engaged by the master of elephants. Dirgayu quickly endeared himself to all, and his superior abilities came at last under the notice of the king, who had the young man brought before him and was so charmed with him that he employed him in his own castle, and he proved to be so able and diligent that the king shortly placed him in a position of great trust under himself. One day the king went on a long hunting expedition and became separated from his retinue, Dirgayu alone remaining with him. And the king, being fatigued with his exertions, lay down and slept with his head in Dirgayu's lap. Then Dirgayu thought, This king has greatly wronged me. He robbed my father of his kingdom and slew my parents, and he is now entirely in my power." And he drew his sword, thinking to slay Brahmadatta, but remembering how his father had taught him never to seek revenge but to forgive to the uttermost, he sheathed his sword. At last the king awoke out of a disturbed sleep, and the youth inquired of him why he looked so frightened. "My sleep," said the king, "is always restless, for I frequently dream that I am in the power of young Dirgayu, and that he is alone to slay me. While lying here, I again dream that with greater vividness than ever before, and it has filled me with dread and terror." Then the youth, drawing his sword, said, "I am Prince Dirgayu, and you are in my power. The time of vengeance has arrived." Then the king fell upon his knees and begged Dirgayu to spare his life. And Dirgayu said, "It is you, O king, who must spare my life. For many years you have wished to find me in order that you might kill me. And now that you have found me, let me beg of you to grant me my life." And there and then did Brahmadatta and Dirgayu grant each other life, took hands, and solemnly vowed never to harm each other. And so overcome was the king by the noble and forgiving spirit of Dirgayu that he gave him his daughter in marriage and restored to him his father's kingdom. Thus hatred ceases by not hatred, by forgiveness, which is very beautiful and is sweeter and more effective than revenge. It is the beginning of love, of that divine love that does not seek its own, and he who practices it, who perfects himself in it, comes at last to realize that blessed state wherein the torments of pride and vanity and hatred and retaliation are forever dispelled, and goodwill and peace are unchanging and unlimited. And there and then did Brahmadatta and Dirgayu grant each other life, took hands, and solemnly vowed never to harm each other. And so overcome was the king by the noble and forgiving spirit of Dirgayu that he gave him his daughter in marriage and restored to him his father's kingdom. Thus hatred ceases by not hatred, by forgiveness, which is very beautiful and is sweeter and more effective than revenge. It is the beginning of love, of that divine love that does not seek its own, and he who practices it, who perfects himself in it, comes at last to realize that blessed state wherein the torments of pride and vanity and hatred and retaliation are forever dispelled, and goodwill and peace are unchanging and unlimited. Life is, and life is conscious. But what is the nature of this life? Is it physical, mental, material, or spiritual? A little careful thinking based upon logic, more than any merely personal opinion, will do much in clearing up some of these questions that at first seem to stagger us with their bigness. The next question is, how do things come from life? How do the things that we see come from the things that we do not see? The things that we see must be real because we see them. To say they are not real will never explain them nor answer any question about them. God's world is not a world of illusion, but one of divine realities. The truth must not explain away things that we see, it must explain what they are. We are living and experiencing varying degrees of consciousness and conditions. Only when the why of this living and of our experiences is understood will we know the least thing about the truth. Jesus did not say that things are illusions. He said that we must not judge from the standpoint of the seen, but must judge righteously or with right judgment. And he meant that we must get behind the appearance and find out what caused it. So let us not in any way fool ourselves, nor allow ourselves to believe we have always been fooled. We are living in a world of realities. Whatever we have experienced is a reality as far as that experience is concerned, although if we had had a higher understanding of life, the unpleasant experience might have been avoided. What life is? In the first place, what do we mean by life? We mean that which we see, feel, hear, touch, or taste, and the reason for it. We must have come into contact with all we know of life. we have already found what life is, or we could not have had any of these experiences. In the beginning was God, or life. Out of this life comes everything. So life must flow through all things. There is no such thing as dead matter. Moreover, life is one, and it cannot be changed except into itself. All are forms of this unity and must come and go through some inner activity. This inner activity of life or nature must be some form of self-consciousness or self-knowing. In our human understanding, we would call this inner knowing or consciousness thought. The spirit or life or God must make things out of himself through self-recognition or self-knowing, or, as we would call it, thinking. Since God is all, there is nothing to hinder him from doing what he wishes, and the question, how do things come into being, is answered. God makes them out of himself. God thinks or knows, and that thing which he thinks or knows appears from himself and is made out of himself. There is no other possible explanation for what we see. Unless people are willing to begin here, they will never understand how it is that things are not material but spiritual. Man's place in creation. But where does man come in? Man is made out of God, since God, or spirit, is all. Being made out of God, he must partake of his nature, for we are made in his image. Whatever God is in the universal, man must be in the individual world. The difference between God and man is one of degree and not of quality. Man is not self-made. He is made out of God. The question might arise, why did God do this? No living person can answer this question. This is something that is known only of the Father. We might suppose that God made man to live with him and to enjoy with him, to be one with the Father. It is true indeed that those who have felt this most deeply have had a corresponding spiritual power that leads us to suppose that God really did make man as a companion. Man is the individual, and God is the universal. As the Father hath life within himself, so hath he given it to the Son to have life within himself. Man's mind is made out of God's mind, and all that man is or ever will be, all that he has or ever will have, must partake of the divine nature. Man did not make it so, but it is so, and he must accept the fact and see what he can do with it. If he has the same power in his individual life that God has in the universal, then this discovery will mean freedom from all bondage when he learns how to use his power. As God governs his universal world, so will man govern his individual world, always subject to the greater law and life. God governs not through physical law as result, but first by inner knowing. Then the physical follows. In the same way, man governs his world by the process which we will call, for want of a better name, the power of his thought. Man's inner life is one with the Father. There can be no separation, for the self-evident reason that there is nothing to separate him from God, because there is nothing but life. The separation of two things implies putting a different element between them. But as there is nothing different from God, the unity of God and man is firmly established forever. My Father and I are one is a simple statement of a great soul who perceived life as it really is, and not from the mere standpoint of outer conditions. Taking as the starting point that man has the same life as God, it follows that he uses the same creative process. Everything is one, comes from the same source, and returns again to it. What we see comes from what we do not see. This is the explanation of the whole visible universe, and is the only possible explanation. As God's thought makes worlds and peoples them with all living things, so does our thought make our world and peoples it with all the experiences we have had. By the activity of our thought, things come into our life, and we are limited because we have not known the truth. We have thought that outside things controlled us, when all the time we have had that within which could have changed everything and given us freedom from bondage. The question then naturally arises, why did God create man and make him a free agent? If God had created us in such a way as to compel us to do or to be anything that was not of our choosing, we should not have been individuals at all. Since we know that we are individuals, we know that God made us thus, and we are just discovering the reason why. Let any man wake up to this, the greatest truth in all ages, and he will find it will answer all questions. He will be satisfied that things are what they are. He will perceive that he may use his own God-given power so to work, to think, and to live that he will in no way hinder the greater law from operating through him. According to the clearness of his perception and the greatness of his realization of this power, will he provide within himself a starting point through which God may operate. There will no longer be a sense of separation, but in its place will come that divine assurance that he is one with God, and thus will he find his freedom from all suffering, whether it be of body, mind, or estate. The beginning of understanding. Man is beginning to realize that he has life within himself as the great gift of God to him. If he is an individual and has the right of self-choice which constitutes individuality, then it follows that he can do with his life what he wants to do. He can make out of himself that which he wishes. Freedom is his, but this freedom is within law and never outside it. Man must obey law. If he disobeys it, it has to act as law, and so acting has to punish him. This he cannot change, but must submit to. Freedom comes to the individual from understanding the laws of his own life and conforming to them, thereby subjecting them to his use, to the end of health, happiness, and success. Law obtains throughout all nature, governing all things, both the seen and the unseen. Law is not physical or material, but mental and spiritual. Law is God's method of operation. We should think of God as the Great Spirit whose sole impulse is love, freely giving of himself to all who ask and ref, using none. God is our Father in every sense of the term, watching over, caring for, and loving all alike. While all is love, yet in order that things may not be chaotic, all is governed by law, and as far as you and I are concerned, this law is always mental. Our conditions are governed by our thinking. It is easy for the average person to see how it is that mind can control, and to a certain extent govern, the functions of the body. Some can go even further than this and see that the body is governed entirely by consciousness. This they can see without much difficulty, but it is not so easy for them to see how it is that thought governs their conditions and decides whether they are to be successes or failures. Here we will stop to ask the question, if our conditions are not controlled by thought, by what then are they controlled? Some will say that conditions are controlled by circumstances, but what are circumstances? Are they cause or are they effect? Of course they are always effect. Everything that we see is an effect. An effect is something that follows a cause, and we are dealing with causation only. Effects do not make themselves, but they are held in place by mind or causation. If this does not answer your thought, begin over again and realize that behind everything that is seen is the silent cause. In your life, you are that cause. There is nothing but mind, and nothing moves except as mind moves it. We have agreed that, while God is love, yet your life is governed absolutely by mind or law. In our lives of conditions, we are the cause, and nothing moves except as our mind moves it. The activity of our mind is thought. We are always acting because we are always thinking. At all times we are either drawing things to us or we are pushing them away from us. In the ordinary individual, this process goes on without his ever knowing it consciously, but ignorance of the law will excuse no one from its effects. What, someone will say, do you think that I thought failure or wanted to fail? Of course not. You would be foolish to think that, but according to the law, which we cannot deny, you must have thought things that would produce failure. Perhaps you thought that failure might come, or in some other way you gave it entrance to your mind. Thinking back over the reason for things, you will find that you are surrounded by a mind, or law, that casts back at the thinker, manifested, everything that he thinks. If this were not true, man would not be an individual. Individuality can mean only the ability to think what we want to think. If that thought is to have power in our lives, then there has to be something that will manifest it. Some are limited and bound by law through ignorance. This law is sometimes called karma. It is the law that binds the ignorant and gives freedom to the wise. We live in mind, and it can return to us only what we think into it. No matter what we may do, law will always obtain. If we are thinking of ourselves as poor and needy, then mind has no choice but to return what we have thought into it. At first, this may be hard to realize, but the truth will reveal to the seeker that law could act in no other way. Whatever we think is the pattern, and mind is the builder. Jesus, realizing this law, said, "It is done unto you even as you have believed." Shall we doubt but that he knew what he was talking about? Did he not say, "It is done unto you"? Nothing to worry about. With a tremendous grasp of the power of true spiritual thought, Jesus even called forth bread from the ethers of life, and at no time did he ever fail to demonstrate that when one knows the truth, he is freed by that knowledge. Unconscious creation. The author once attended a patient who was suffering from a large growth. She was operated on and about 50 pounds of water were removed. In a few days, the growth had returned. Where did it come from? Not from eating or drinking. Neither did it move from one part of the body to another part, as that would not have increased her weight. It must have been created from elements which she took in from the air. It had to come from something not physically seen, something appearing from nothing that we see. What we call creation is the same thing, the visible appearing from the invisible. Was not this phenomenon a creation? Cases as remarkable as this are occurring every day. We should not deny this fact, but try to explain it. In the case of this woman, there must have been an activity of thought molded forth into form, else how could this growth have appeared? There is nothing manifest but that there is a cause for the manifestation. Investigation proves that behind every condition, whether of body or environment, there has been some thought, conscious or unconscious, which produced that condition. But creation is going on all the time. We should realize this and learn how to control it, so that there may be created for us the things that we desire, and not those that we do not want. Is it any wonder that the Bible says, "With all thy getting, get understanding"? Jesus understood all this, and so it was no more effort for him to do what he did than it is for us to breathe or to digest our food. He understood, that is all. Because Jesus did understand and did use these great laws with objective consciousness, people thought he must be God. And when today something unusual occurs, people think that a miracle has been performed. Jesus was not God. He was the manifestation of God, and so are all people. I say that ye are gods, and every one of you sons of the Most High. A thinking person will be compelled to admit, in view of all this, that creation is first spiritual, through mental law, and then physical in its manifestation. Man does not really create. He uses creative power that already is. Relatively speaking, he's the creative power in his own life, and so far as his thought goes, there is something that goes with it that has the power to bring forth into manifestation the thing thought of. Hitherto, men have used this creative power in ignorance, and so have brought upon themselves all kinds of conditions. But today, hundreds of thousands are beginning to use these great laws of their being in a conscious, constructive way. Herein lies the great secret of the new thought movements under their various names and orders. All are using the same law, even though some deny to others the real revelation. We should get into an attitude of mind wherein we should recognize the truth wherever we may find it. The trouble with most of us is that unless we see sugar in a sugar bowl, we think it must be something else, and so we stick to our petty prejudices instead of looking after principles. First steps. The first thing to realize is that since any thought manifests, it necessarily follows that all thought does the same. Else, how should we know that the particular thought we were thinking would be the one that would create? Mind must cast back all or none. Just as the creative power of the soil receives all seeds put into it, and at once begins to work upon them, so mind must receive all thought, and at once begin to operate upon it. Thus we find that all thought has some power in our lives and over our conditions. We are making our environments by the creative power of our thought. God has created us thus, and we cannot escape it. By conforming our lives and thought to a greater understanding of law, we shall be able to bring into our experience just what we wish, letting go of all that we do not want to experience and taking in the things we desire. Every person is surrounded by a thought atmosphere. This mental atmosphere is the direct result of thought, which in its turn becomes the direct reason for the cause of that which comes into our lives. Through this power, we are either attracting or repelling. Like attracts like, and we attract to us just what we are in mind. It is also true that we become attracted to something that is greater than our previous experience by first embodying the atmosphere of our desire. Every business, every place, every person, everything has a certain mental atmosphere of its own. This atmosphere decides what is to be drawn to it. For instance, you never saw a successful man who went around with an atmosphere of failure. Successful people think about success. A successful man is filled with that subtle something which permeates everything that he does with an atmosphere of confidence and strength. In the presence of some people, we feel as though nothing were too great to undertake. We are uplifted. We are inspired to do great things, to accomplish. We feel strong, steady, sure. What a power we feel in the presence of big souls, strong men, noble women. Did you ever stop to inquire why it is that such persons have this kind of an effect over you, while others seem to depress, to drag you down, and in their presence you feel as though life were a load to carry? One type is positive, the other negative. In every physical respect, they are just alike, but one has a mental and spiritual power, which the other does not have, and without that power the individual can hope to do but little. Which of these two do we like the better? With which do we want to associate? Certainly not with the one that depresses us. We have enough of that already. But what about the man who inspires us with our own worth? He is the man we will turn to every time. Before ever we reach him, in our haste to be near, even to hear his voice, do we not feel a strength coming to meet us? Do you think that this man who has such a wonderful power of attraction will ever want for friends? Will he ever have to look up a position? Already so many positions are open to him that he is weighing in his mind which one to take. He doesn't have to become a success. He already is a success. Thoughts of failure, limitation, or poverty are negative and must be counted out of our lives for all time. Somebody will say, "But what of the poor? What are you going to do with them? Are they to be left without help?" No, 1,000 times no. The same power is in them that is in all men. They will always be poor until they awake and realize what life is. All the charity on earth has never done away with poverty, and never will. If it could have done so, it would have done so. It could not, therefore it has not. It will do a man 1,000 times more good to show him how to succeed than it will to tell him he needs charity. God has given us a power, and we must use it. We can do more towards saving the world by proving this law than all that charity has ever given it. Right here in the manifold world today, there is more money and provision than the world can use. Not even a fraction of the wealth of the world is used. Inventors and discoverers are adding to this wealth every day. They are the real people. But in the midst of plenty, surrounded by all the gifts of heaven, man sits and begs for his daily bread. He should be taught to realize that he has brought these conditions upon himself, that instead of blaming God, man, or the devil for the circumstances by which he is surrounded, he should learn to seek the truth, to let the dead bury their dead. We should tell every man who will believe what his real nature is, show him how to overcome all limitations, give him courage, show him the way. If he will not believe, if he will not walk in the way, it is not our fault, and having done all we can, we must go our way. We may sympathize with people, but never with trouble, limitation, or misery. If people still insist upon hugging their troubles to themselves, all the charity in the world will not help them. Remember that God is that silent power behind all things, always ready to spring into expression when we have provided the proper channels, which are receptive and positive faith in the evidence of things not seen with the physical eye, but eternal in the heavens. All is mind, and we must provide a receptive avenue for it as it passes out through us into the outer expression of our affairs. If we allow the world's opinion to control our thinking, then that will be our demonstration. If, on the other hand, we rise superior to the world, we shall do a new thing. Remember that all people are making demonstrations. Only most of them are making the ones they do not desire, but the only ones they can make with their present powers of perception. How to attain strength. Let us see that we use the right attitude of mind in all that we do, filling ourselves with such courage and power of strength that all thought of weakness flees before us. If any thought of weakness should come, ask this question: is life weak? If life is not weak, and if God is not discouraged, then you are not, never were, and never will be. I should like to see the sickly, discouraged thought that could withstand this attitude of mind. Life is strong, and you are strong with the strength of the infinite. Forget all else as you revel in this strength. You are strong and can say, "I am." You have been laboring under an illusion. Now you know, and knowing is using the law in a constructive way. I and my Father are one. This is strength for the weak and life for all who believe. We can so fill ourselves with the drawing power of attraction that it will become irresistible. Nothing can hinder things from coming to the man who knows that he is dealing with the same power that creates all from itself, moves all within itself, and yet holds all things in their places. I am one with the infinite mind. Let this ring through you many times each day until you rise to that height that looking sees. In order to be sure that we are creating the right kind of a mental atmosphere and so attracting what we want, we must at first watch our thinking, lest we create that which we should not like to see manifest. In other words, we must think only what we wish to experience. All is mind, and mind casts back at the thinker that only which he thinks. Nothing ever happens by chance. Law governs all life, and all people come under that law. But that law, so far as we are concerned, we ourselves set in motion, and we do this through the power of our thought. Each person is living in a world of his own making, and he should speak only such words and think only such thoughts as he wishes to see manifested in his life. We must not hear, think, speak, read, or listen to limitation of any kind. There is no way under heaven whereby we can think two kinds of thought and get only one result. It is impossible, and the sooner we realize it, the sooner we shall arrive. This does not mean that we must be afraid to think, lest we create the wrong image. But it does mean that the way most people think can produce nothing but failure. That is why so few succeed. The person who is to succeed will never let his mind dwell on past mistakes. He will forgive the past in his life and in the lives of other people. If he makes a mistake, he will at once forgive it. He will know that so long as he desires any good, there is nowhere in the universe anything that opposes him. God doesn't make things by comparing his power with some other power. God knows that when he speaks it is done, and if we partake of the divine nature, we must know the same thing in our lives that God knows in his. What we will attract, we will always attract to us in our lives and conditions according to our thought. Things are but outer manifestations of inner mental concepts. Thought is not only power, it is also the form of all things. The conditions that we attract will correspond exactly to our mental pictures. It is quite necessary, then, that the successful businessman should keep his mind on thoughts of happiness, which produce cheerfulness instead of depression. He should radiate joy and should be filled with faith, hope, and expectancy. These cheerful, hopeful attitudes of mind are indispensable to the one who really wants to do things in life. Put every negative thought out of your mind once and for all. Declare your freedom. Know that no matter what others may say, think or do, you are a success now, and nothing can hinder you from accomplishing your good. All the power of the universe is with you. Feel it, know it, and then act as though it were true. This mental attitude alone will draw people and things to you. Begin to blot out one by one all false beliefs, all idea that man is limited or poor or miserable. Use that wonderful power of will that God has given to you. Refuse to think of failure or to doubt your own power. See only what you wish to experience and look at nothing else. No matter how many times the old thought returns, destroy it by knowing that it has no power over you. Look it squarely in the face and tell it to go. It does not belong to you, and you must know, and stick to it, that you are now free. Rise up in all the faith of one who knows what he is dealing with, and declare that you are one with infinite mind. Know that you cannot get away from this one mind. That wherever you may go, there, right beside you, waiting to be used, is all the power there is in the whole universe. When you realize this, you will know that in union with this, the only power, you are more than all else. You are more than anything that can ever happen to you. More about the power of attraction. Always remember that spirit makes things out of itself. It manifests in the visible world by becoming the thing that it wills to become. In the world of the individual, the same process takes place. It is given to man to use creative power, but with the using of this power comes the necessity of using it as it is made to be used. If God makes things out of his thought before they come into manifestation, then we must use the same method. You can attract only that which you first mentally become and feel yourself to be in reality, without any doubting. A steady stream of consciousness going out into creative mind will attract a steady manifestation of conditions. A fluctuating stream of consciousness will attract the corresponding manifestation or condition in your life. We must be consistent in our attitude of mind, never wavering. James says, "Ask in faith, nothing doubting. For he that doubteth is like a surge of the sea, driven by the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord." We are all immersed in an aura of our own thinking. This aura is the direct result of all that we have ever said, thought, or done. It decides what is to take place in our life. It attracts what is like itself and repels what is unlike itself. We are drawn towards those things that we mentally embody. Most of the inner processes of thought have been unconscious, but when we understand the law, all that we have to do is to embody consciously what we wish and think of that only, and then we shall be drawn silently toward it. We have this law in our hands to do with as we will. We can draw what we want only as we let go of the old order and take up the new, and this we must do to the exclusion of all else. This is no weak man's job, but an undertaking for a strong, self-reliant soul, and the end is worth the effort. The person who can hold his thought one-pointed is the one who will obtain the best results. You've changed the way you think about money, grown your gratitude, and made your values more in line with prosperity. You've linked your purpose to money, become more generous, and brought more money into your life by helping others. You're now enjoying your money-making success. Remember that money is like a river. Let it flow easily and let its beat touch your heart. Accept that you are a part of this heavenly dance.